good day, dear friends. Hope you're all doing well. I do realize that it has been long overdue that I made a proper long format video, but the last few years have been quite unprecedented. Regardless of that, I know that I really wanted to make a portfolio showcase video for quite some time now, so it's long overdue that I did that. Today, I thought we could start with reviewing the artwork that I have done, mostly on toned paper. What we're going to do is go back as early as 2016, which is when I restarted basically to draw regularly. That was during my university years in Paris. That was when I started to experiment with toned paper. So here we go. Now we're starting off with these. These are drawings that I did on A5 size paper. This right here is the Jurassic World, the game Tyrannosaurus Rex at level 40. So, to provide some context, I was playing the game at that time. I drew this when I was watching Gaming Beaver do all the playthroughs and stuff, so I was feeling quite inspired. I did these with graphite pencils, Faber-Castell, as well as the brush pens. Next we have the level 40 Rajasaurus. I really had fun doing this one. Didn't use as many markers on this one because the graphite pencil really did its job, but yeah, I really loved working on this one. It was fantastic. Great memories, I have to say. And here we have, of course, level 40 Spinosaurus. The memories of studying there and also trying to find a form of escapism from the whole struggle of being a student in Paris alone. This was quite a safe haven for me. Alright, so now let's move on to some larger pieces. So this would catch some people off guard when they look at how extremely inaccurate of a Triceratops this is, but there's an explanation for that actually. I did this in early 2016 and I just went with the flow, but that's not the only reason it looks really strange. It's because I actually drew inspiration from the rhinoceros that was done by Albrecht Dürer, the Hungarian painter and also graphical artist, if I'm not mistaken. This is why this Triceratops looks this way. Next, what do we got? Yes, okay. So this was actually very heavily referenced from the sideshow Tyrannosaurus Rex. I think it was a Triceratops facing off against a Tyrannosaurus. A very inspiring piece, I have to say. That's why I wanted to draw it. So yeah. Okay, so then we got, oh yeah, all right. So I remember during this time I was feeling super nostalgic about Primal Rage. This is Chaos, the one of the ape characters, ripping this, well, theropod like dinosaur to shreds, like King Kong. I was such a different person back then. Man, I was super edgy at that time. Alright, so next. By the way, they should totally make a revamp of that game. As well as Warpath, Jurassic Park. Okay, so next we got this Smilodon, which is super inaccurate. I'd say I would draw the Smilodon much more differently, but again, as I said, I was super edgy at that time and I didn't really care about the anatomical accuracy back then, so I just wanted it to really convey this emotion of aggression and fury. So that's what I went with. That was the priority. So yeah, this was my take on Smilodon at that time. Now this was really great, man. So my friend Arsene He actually got in touch with me. Arsen is a fellow compatriot who lives in the UK, and at that time he was sculpting a Tyrannosaurus, and he wanted me to create a portrait as promotional material for the sculpt that he was producing. But unfortunately, it did not come to fruition, and he has sent some sculpts to Jurassic Collectibles actually many years ago. You should check out his channel, by the way. I'll provide the links in the description below. So next, yeah, of course, here we got our boy Kong. I did this drawing for a poster design competition, actually. This was when Kong Skull Island was supposed to come out. It was such good fun drawing this. Of course, I didn't like drawing the helicopter, because you can see the yeah, you can probably spot these pencil marks here, because I erased the helicopter from there and then just restarted it a little bit lower in order to fit it into the composition. But Kong came out pretty well for that time. Of course, I would draw him better now, especially the face. I think it lacks quite a lot of detail. But I did pretty okay with the arms, also the perspective. Yeah, this is the part where he jumps up and punches the helicopter, so that's what I was going for. Then I made it into a digital illustration. I used the traditional drawing, and then I converted into a digital piece using Photoshop. So yeah, that's how I went. I didn't get to win it, but boy, there were some great entries in that competition, I'll tell you that. It's fantastic. All right, so next, more Kong, of course. Now this is Peter Jackson's Kong, of course, and this is my favorite King Kong of all time. One of the most inspiring films ever. I'd say, for me personally, my two favorite films equally are Jurassic Park and King Kong. And while I do tremendously respect the 1933 original, and I love that too, but this will always stay my favorite. All right, next. Okay, so now we move on to 2018. Jurassic World Evolution had already been released. Yeah, I did this sort of marathon thing where I tried to draw any kind of dinosaur every day of the month. So yeah, I did this Allosaurus, which was pretty quickly done. I mean, it's not that highly detailed. I used pigment pens, which are these. Yeah. All right, next. So again, as I said, Jurassic World Evolution was quite the thing at the time. So I drew the Edmontosaurus, as you can see. And then I think I did my own interpretation of Lambeosaurus. Yes, Lambeosaurus. For a second I was confusing it with Centaurosaurus, but I was wrong. Yes, Lambeosaurus and Parasaurolophus, but with a slightly, ever so slightly more accurate skull, probably. I used the original Jurassic Park colors too. All right, next. Chasmosaurus. Yeah, I did this one just with a regular pencil. Chasmosaurus, I'd say, is not one of the most prominent ceratopsians, but yet again, Jurassic World Evolution, the first edition, of course, had a big part to play in me wanting to draw it. So, there you have it. Alright, so next is Daspletosaurus. Yeah, Daspletosaurus, I really had fun doing this one. Yeah, I wanted to have it look down like that, with this sort of perspective on a carcass, as you can see right here. I had loads of fun using these Pigma pens. Next, of course, Stegosaurus. Man, it's been such a long time since I've drawn this one. I mean, I have drawn Stegosaurus last June, which drawing you will see in another video. But when it comes to the more accurate reconstruction of the animal, I haven't done that in ages. So I'd say I really want to have a crack at doing a proper big ballpoint pen illustration, which I can then convert to a digital one through Photoshop, so hopefully I can get around to doing that soon. Actually, this is interesting. I wanted to include an Allosaurus here, sort of looking at it from this position, because I just noticed the pencil here didn't erase that well. Yeah, I think it was redundant, and it was better to just simply have the steg. Alrighty, Dilophosaurus. Yeah, this was a very popular piece, I'd say, back in those days. It's definitely quite inaccurate in terms of proportions. The skull proportions are very, very inaccurate. Right, next we got Nigersaurus. Yes, Nigersaurus. The very strange skull that it has. It's just such a bizarre animal. Had great fun doing this, and I actually really enjoyed doing these sorts of frames. Next we got Coelophysis. I put some fuzz on the back, which was, well, quite speculative, I'd say. Look at that bald head. Alright, so Pachyrhinosaurus. Yeah, there's quite a bit of inaccuracy here. I did not include any of the protrusions and keratin on brow areas, basically on top of the eyes. And it almost feels like the boss has been sort of pushed inside its head. So I didn't get to study the anatomy at that time, and I was still learning quite a bit. So this was my take on it. But it's all right. I mean, you can pretty much understand that it's a Pachyrhinosaurus, but there's a lot of inaccuracy here, and the nostril is just huge. The nostril is enormous here. Yeah. All right. Now we'll move on to a much more darker tone of paper. Okay, so this right here is Deinonychus, and again, this is when I was playing Jurassic World Evolution, and the design of the Deinonychus was so underwhelming. That whole fish lizard thing, man, I just do not understand why they gave it that sort of fin. I don't know, but I really wanted to do a much more accurate take on the species, so I used exactly the same color pattern, but you know, made it a little bit more accurate with the whole feathers and everything. So yeah, there you have it. Now, who's next? We got, oh yeah, all right, yeah. Now we're getting a little bit better. So here is Daeodon, of course. Man, I remember being so inspired at the time and really wanted to do some proper Cenozoic species, and this was really great fun to work on. I want to have all the time in the world to expand my portfolio even more and more and do proper large format illustrations in color of various Cenozoic species. Because of course I don't want my portfolio to be just solely limited to dinosaurs. Look at it here. I mean, that you could say that the skull is pretty inaccurate, but probably these protrusions are not, because you can see this type of structure on hogs, but this jawbone right here, the jaws, I mean, I very much accentuated the whole shape, and it's quite shrink wrapped, so in terms of that, it's pretty inaccurate. But yeah, I mean, overall, not too bad of an effort. Next, I think I can guess which piece it is. Yeah, probably, yeah. Okay, so here we got Bison latifrons, very impressive looking bovine here. Yeah, man, bison are such impressive animals, but when you imagine them with horns with triple the length, yeah, quite an impressive beast, I'd say. Good stuff. Okay, next we have Dryosaurus. Dinosaurs in the desert, basically. With this piece, I wanted to create a sort of Morrison formation scene, and with the Dinosaurs creating burrows and hiding, making nests there, etc. This was that was also heavily inspired from the Isle back then. This was when Dinosaurs could make burrows, and also Psittacosaurus, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that was a pretty fun time playing that too. Yeah, so this is how that piece came about. It was great fun. All right, now we're moving on to much warmer tones, and this right here, I mean, you can pretty much guess, I mean, the timing of these pieces depending on the subject matter, because you can very much make out which sort of dinosaur media came out. So this is 2019, if I'm not mistaken. So Genndy Tartakovsky's Primal was either about to come out or had already come out. I think it had already. So yeah, this was my take on Fang. Much more detailed, of course, compared to its original counterpart in the animation. But yeah, man, that first season of Primal was just fantastic. Unfortunately, the second season was very underwhelming for me personally, especially the ending, man. I mean, spoiler alert, but you know, it was very rushed and not well executed. And also it focused more on fictional human cultures. So that was not something that I was interested in. So next, of course, would be the Horned Tyrant. Well, it's not a Ceratosaurus or anything, it's just a Tyrannosaurus with a theropod with a large horn. It was great to sort of give more details to a character which basically did not have any due to its animation style, and try to sort of experiment with it to make it look much more realistic. Next, yeah, this is, I think we're already in the 2020s, 2021 probably. Yeah, did this one in like 30 minutes or something. Yeah, 30 or 40 minutes. Yeah, a simple Rex sketch. Yeah. Very quickly done without any reference or anything. Okay, so this is my absolute favorite tone of paper. This is Hyperendocrine Tyrannosaurus from the Isle. And boy, do I have a lot to say about this one. Man, the hypers were such an awesome concept, and I really hope that sooner or later we would get to play with these in the Isle when the game is much more refined and ready, but it's just not happening. I did this drawing in 2021. I think in terms of overall accuracy, I didn't do too bad. Well, you'd be the judge, of course. Before we move on to more warm tone paper, I want to introduce you to some other pieces which have been done with negative effect on black tone paper, actually. Yeah, did this really quick sort of bust using white graphite Faber-Castell pencils. Then here is the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. Well, I was still learning how to create this sort of negative effect, but yeah, there you go. I did way better pieces of the JP3 Spinosaurus, so you'll get to see that soon. So here's a little bit better of an effort with this sort of technique. This is Giganotosaurus. It's not too bad, I'd say, for this technique first, being a beginner. And here we get a shark piece. Yep. All right, there you go. I have some more, but they're in another album, a separate album, and I'll show you those pieces as well. All right, let's continue with the warm tone paper. Yeah, this is definitely 2021. This was when I was collaborating with the author of the Primitive War books. And this is the Carcharodontosaurus characters from the second edition of Primitive War. I really wanted to take the opportunity to expand the portfolio and include some other dinosaur media in here, besides, you know, just film or animation, but also novels. Especially this male Dinosaurs was really great to work on, and I think I did okay in terms of the overall skull shape, because that's the defining feature of any dinosaur, I'd say, the most important defining feature. And yeah, I think I did pretty okay here. Next, who's next? Some more Primitive War / Jurassic Park The Lost World. Here we've got the Father Rex, the fully fuzzed up Tyrannosaurus, along with the Bull T-Rex from The Lost World, Jurassic Park. Yeah, this was basically supposed to be a sort of tribute to iconic male Tyrannosaurs. It's always tremendously important to get the whole skull structure right. Throughout the years, I've gotten more and more used to drawing the iconic Jurassic Park InGen Tyrannosaurus, as you will see in other pieces that I have produced with other techniques, especially with ballpoint pen. So, all right. Okay, now this right here is the Nanotyrannus from Carnivore's Cityscape. So, for those of you who are familiar with the Carnivore's franchise, Carnivore's game series, I was introduced to that franchise with its lowest rated installment, which was Cityscape. But if you were to check out Saurian Target on YouTube, Saurian Target is a tremendous part of that community and is a very prominent figure in keeping the sort of fandom going when it comes to this very old franchise now. Yeah, so this is the Nanotyrannus, which it was still considered a valid genus and then got debunked basically, but then eventually with the latest paper introduced by Longridge, it's back on. So Nanotyrannus is very much still up for debate. A lot of people would say it's just simply a subadult Tyrannosaurus or juvenile Tyrannosaurus, but thanks to this game, which had a very iconic design, and all its dinosaur designs were done by Todd Marshall, who is a fantastic paleo artist, a very, I'd say, very experimental in his approach, and he did all sorts of amazing pieces, combining, of course, scientific accuracy of that time with very speculative but also very cool looking structures. So yeah, you can check out his work online. It's absolutely fantastic, and it inspired me a lot. So, and this is why I fell in love with the Nanotyrannus design, and especially the levels that you play with it and you play against it in the game in Carnivore Cityscape are very, very memorable for me. So yeah, this is why I decided to do that piece. Yeah, there you go. Next, yeah, we got some more Primal. Now, this was when the second season had released, I think. So I did this piece with a more, again, a realistic looking Fang with its chicks. We're getting close to the end. Okay, now, so this is the Pachycephalosaurus that I did for Primal Carnage. So we're still working on stuff together, but I cannot disclose all of it because we still have a few months before everything gets released. But this right here is the Pachycephalosaurus that I drew for its official merch store. So you can go and check out on their store. They do have posters available and all sorts of apparel. This was the original drawing that I did, which I eventually converted into a digital piece just for that purpose. It was great fun to work on this. Now, final piece right here. Of course, we're gonna end it with the iconic Tyrant King himself. So this right here, I did it, I think it was in spring or early summer of last year. Yeah, I did a very time-consuming pointillism style Tyrannosaurus here. As you can spot all sorts of various dots So here you've got the osteological correlates drawn using the Pigma pen, but also when you move on to much smaller scales, I went with a much more pointillism style approach. There you have it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes the folder of my toned paper artwork. There you have it. Early 2016 up to 2024. I thank you all very much for watching today's video, and I very much look forward to bringing you some more original artwork. All of these drawings, all the drawings that I will showcase eventually, are all up for sale. Now, I'm not able to disclose all the information in one video, but you can contact me in all sorts of ways, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, via email, DeviantArt, ArtStation, anywhere you'd like. I'm always very much reachable. And of course, I also have a Patreon. You can join that and support my craft. That way, if you're unable to buy a print or an original artwork, but you'd still like to support me, Patreon is great for that. So please feel free to contact me in any way you would prefer. But of course, Facebook and Instagram are the primary platforms that I use to get in touch with clients. So if you would be interested in acquiring an original piece, please feel free to contact me. I ship worldwide, and all original drawings come with additional prints as a bonus gift. So that's a wrap. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace and blessings.